Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 72. This I'm viewing the 16th film released, 11th Strike. You're probably thinking, what kind of name is 11th Striker? Well, the way they explain it in the movie, it's a term related to soccer. Yep, this is a soccer-themed movie. Yep, released in 2012. Yeah, a film that was released almost 8 years ago. Yep. And the movie starts off basically with a mysterious person, the culprit, though they don't show who it is. Basically, someone shut up the suspect, laughing maniacally while planting bombs. Now they keep this person secret until toward the end of the movie, and then we cut to a soccer game at the Tokyo Stadium. As far as I know, I think the stadium exists. I don't know. I've never been to Japan. Because when it comes to stadiums in Japan, the one stadium I personally think of is the Tokyo Dome. I personally have never been there, but I know what it is. I've seen pictures of the damn thing. I've seen footage from this particular arena. Yeah, it's basically the best way to describe Tokyo Dome. It's the Japan version of MSG. That's the best way to describe it. It's like whoever competes there, basically, it's like a big high honor to basically have a wrestling event there. It's just as big as basically competing at, Madison Square Garden. Very similar circumstance. Yep. Now, basically everything's going good. It's going on to something quite odd. And basically he goes and check out, something really strange going on, and he discovers that there's a bunch of bombs. Yes, bombs. Lighting atop a frickin' electronic scoreboard, which he disarms a couple of them. And then, of course, he frantically calls McGuire. Well, first, basically, how he first picks up the bombs is basically Ren contacts him, because the movie basically kind of starts out with the whole laughing uncle guy when he contacts Richard Moore at Detective Agency. Yeah, first time in a while, probably that I can think of, where a movie's opened up with Detective Agency. Conan is actually not there. No, he is not. Yep. What's going on here? Well, apparently a car bomb went off, and basically he's tasked to basically find bombs. Rachel contacts Sichi about this. And basically, that's where he gets the whole idea to check the scoreboard. He finds a whole boatload of bombs. Like, when the heck did the guy take the time to do this? This looks like about 50 bombs. And then he basically asks Kudo, who makes his voice-changing bow tie, contacts Moore and says, hey, there's a bunch of bombs at the stadium. Get over here right now. And have the stadium evacuated, basically from the home field side. Which, okay, fine. And evacuate, and the bombs go off. And Conan uses his special suspenders that he had, of course, the series. And of course, he also uses his telescopic glasses. Yes, he uses several gadgets in here. And he's able to divert the scoreboard by not falling in the field. A bunch of people basically diverts it back with a bunch of empty seats. Yeah, Conan is not proclaimed a hero here. Nope. Yeah, apparently Conan, as Kudo, decided to say, hey, can you keep my involvement secret, and basically pin it all on Richard Moore? Yep. Then they still investigate who the heck the bomber is. And prior to this whole stadium going off, afterwards, they may have put a few soccer players, which, here's the thing. The soccer players in this movie, with the exception of a few, they're basically based upon real life people. And believe it or not, they actually took the time to voice their anime counterpart. Yeah, one of a couple times I've seen this. The last time I saw this was actually in one of the last known hour-long specials of the series, where they brought in a kabuki actor, a real-life kabuki actor who is a big fan of the series, and he got a chance to voice himself. I mean, who better to voice that character than have the character's real-life counterpart, basically voice him. Yep. And they do this particular soccer move, basically all block it. He'll do a special kick with curves around them, hits in the goal. This comes to play in the finale of the movie. And then we discover we have 5 suspects: a studio producer, a photographer, a couple soccer, a few soccer players. Conan points out a particular suspect that I should point out, though, he's very keen on. Yep. One guy, of course, there's also a factory manager suspected to be, and this guy whose son loves soccer. Yeah. And during the course of investigation, basically both Richard Moore and Conan basically investigating this. Though Conan basically comes up with a lot of credible evidence, and lucky enough, basically they kind of reveal the whole. Of course, there's not a threatening letter thrown in there, and they have to have all the head coaches and ace strikers. Yeah, these are basically the lead kickers. That's the best way to describe them, anyways. I don't really follow much of soccer. I played soccer a little bit when I was in elementary school. This was about 20 years ago, so yeah. And plus, I was okay at soccer. I wasn't, let's say, a good player. I was okay. I was a lot better at this when I'm playing freaking baseball. Plus, I won a trophy, but they gave everybody a trophy for participating. Yeah. And in the case of, well, they investigate various people. At one point, they actually have one of the suspects, the one who's a part-timer, who used to be a soccer player. At one point, basically, because the guy had questions, at one point, because he thinks he suspects him of being the bomber, he tries to punch him. Look how Saito comes in and judo flips him, like, right on the ground, arrest him for attempting assault of a police officer, which actually is a pretty damn good charge, because after all, he tried to punch him. Yep. And of course, well, he's basically in police custody for a little while, and then he's released. Yeah, though the course movie, it's revealed though that he was gonna be a soccer player, and he was sought out by the Tokyo Spirits, but apparently they were sending the offer because of motorcycle accidents. It's actually revealed that the reason why he never played for them, because he declined the offer. The reason was because he couldn't actually play. Yeah, he couldn't play, mainly because of the fact that because he only could be on the field for probably about 90 minutes at most. And yeah, we also have it where Hudo, who is actually a recurring character on the anime, who plays for the Okita Spirits. Yeah, big Okita. He gets injured and replaced with a substitute guy who's kind of like his rival. This is his introduction to the series. Yeah, this is one of like a few appearances that he actually does appear, and he's probably the only soccer player aside from Hudo himself who actually is a canon character. The other characters appearing here, like the photographer, she appears one at a time after this. Yeah, she actually appears in an episode of the anime because there's an episode that follows right after this movie. The producer is a character who shows up only for this movie, and that's it. Yep, and there's like a notebook. There's a hint, basically, to go someplace. It really doesn't. Yeah, the female photographer doesn't really play a role in this movie. She's basically limited suspect pretty easily, somewhat. Then, of course, they reopen investigation into them, which goes absolutely nowhere. And it's suspected at one point, the police actually do have some of the supporters, even Richard Moore, suspected the father of the late kid. Yeah, this guy's kid, his son, actually died. And it was mentioned that his ambulance was stopped by a bunch of Tokyo Spirit supporters, and there was a man banging on the ambulance, and it turns out this was Richard Moore. Why? And here's the reason why. Because it's actually revealed that he actually was trying to get an ambulance for an elderly man who was suffering from hypothermia. Eventually the correct ambulance did arrive, but apparently that delay caused the boy's death. And apparently the kid had a very weak body. And it turns out that he was a really big fan of soccer. So basically he basically became friends with a high schooler who was a soccer player. Don't worry, it wasn't anything really creepy. Just taught him how to play soccer. He played a couple games. And then, of course, he over-exaggerates how that's when he actually died. Yeah, they never actually investigate his death at all. It's like they wanted to, and then, like, the plot point is dropped. Yeah, that's one thing that's kind of bad with this movie. The only thing I don't like about it is, like, certain plot points are introduced, and then they're completely ignored by the end of the movie. Because this guy, the guy who Conan suspected was the bomber, yeah, he's the bomber. Yeah, the part-time mechanic. Yeah. And do detective boys do anything? They do a little bit, not very much. Yeah, their involvement in this movie is very minimal at best. A little bit more than the last time they were seen. And they're able to stop the bomb in the last stadium, which actually was the first time the bomb so started at. Yeah, thanks to giving a ball that was autographed by Haido, who they didn't know, and yeah. And the reason why he actually and was suspected that one of his next, and believe it or not, one of his next target was apparently a concert, which apparently had the attendance of 100,000 people. Now here's kind of the thing: the only time I've heard of a concert that close to being that big is Garth Brooks' concert in Central Park about 20 years ago. That was the last time I could think of where you had a concert that was almost that big. Though his concert was attended by 1 million people. Yes, it was by far the biggest concert in history of basically music. Yeah, it was the biggest concert on the record, from what I heard. And from what I've heard, this record has never been broken because it's Central frickin' Park. Yeah, and plus they did do a documentary on this. I think they actually recorded the actual concert itself. Yeah, but how the heck did he manage to book Central Park to be his concert space? Yeah, that must have been something for people who live in New York City, to basically have a whole park crowded with 1 million people just at a Garth Brooks concert. Yeah, though this was a concert for Yuko, the woman who Richard Moore has got a thing for, despite the fact he's still married. Yeah, she's mentioned a couple times. You see her image, but she doesn't appear in the movie. Nope, she doesn't. Which I'm like, that's weird. You mention her concert, but you don't mention her? Really? Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. Yep. Let's see, what else? Yeah, the last bomb is actually... Now, all the bombs in the other stadiums, apparently all 20 stadiums... Yeah, I should point out, though, that in real life, they mentioned... I was looking online, apparently, the real life J-League, which is basically it's based on, it actually has 18 teams, which is actually smaller than some of the other leagues I've heard. Like, if you look at, let's say, the NFL or Major League Baseball, usually they have 30 teams, not 18 teams. I think the amount of teams they have is probably the same amount that you might expect for hockey. I'm not really sure how it is for soccer here because I don't follow soccer. Yep. And the whole title 11th Striker actually goes to Conan. Because basically, Richard was like, you're not an 11th Striker, so... And they had to basically hit... All the 8 strikers had to hit the ball basically in the middle of the bar of the goalpost. And... Yeah. And all the bombs were pretty much disabled pretty quickly. But I'm thinking, though, how did he take the time to plant bombs in 20 stadiums? Well, actually, about 9 stadiums. This one was apparently the 10th or 11th. Yeah. I don't know how the heck he managed to pull this off. It's particularly quite strange. And one of the many things with this movie they never explain. How the heck he pulled this off. Oh yeah, they do mention where he got the bombs from. Apparently a friend in South America, which was where he got a surgery from. It went to get a surgery on his foot. Eventually the bombs are stopped, despite the fact that the stadium, that when the first explosion happened, yeah, it's destroyed a lot more. And then the movie ends basically before the post credits with a bunch of police cars arriving at the stadium, probably to rescue Conan. And apparently off screen he got healed up. And then we have this hilarious scene for post credits. I thought this was so funny. Like the kids are playing soccer, and then Rachel kicks the ball back, and her skirt goes up, and Conan peeks at her panties, and he says, "Ah," he says, "They're white." And Amy's like, "What's white?" And then I think like everybody called, and then Genta and Mitch calls him, "You pervert!" And then he apologizes. They're like, "I'm sorry." That was so hilarious. The fact he accidentally peeked at her panties. By the way, in case you're wondering, did he do this in the manga? Oh yes, he did. And in case you're wondering, has anything else like this happened? Well, he did accidentally one scene ran completely naked. Yeah, when her towel accidentally dropped near where a dead body is. And he basically had, like, as a comical thing you might see in anime, blood came out of his nose. I'm like, okay. So he's seen Rachel naked. He's seen her underwear like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I always think that's quite hilarious, and it's a minor gag they occasionally revisit. But I thought it was so funny, though, in the manga. I don't think the scene was ever adapted for the anime, where it's like the wind went up and basically, and you see her skirt go up, and go ahead and see anything? Like, no. And he's thinking, no, they're white. Yeah, because Sichi's got a thing for Ran. Yeah, that's been a thing since like the start of the series. Yep. The movie overall is really good, except that it's got the only problem I had in the movie is that there are plot points introduced, and the one plot point they did introduce early on in the movie, the whole curved soccer ball thing, they bring that back later on to disable one of the bombs. Aside from that, well, but in the case of what plot points they dropped, like the investigation, the producer, and the photographer, like the real investigation for those, and then it's dropped for some reason. I have no idea why. Yeah, and the whole thing about her notebook, never investigated. It pops up a couple times in the movie, and that's that. It goes absolutely nowhere. The only suspects who actually get sort of like screen time, the plot gets sort of developed for them, is the father of the boy who died and the former soccer player. The other ones, it's like the one basically who is the factory manager. He is suspected of the bombing, but nothing comes of it. Yeah, the investigation for him is like quickly dropped because he had almost nothing to do with this at all. The producer basically was at risk being fired, but he got high ratings, and the photographer got a good basically boost for her. But yeah, there was nothing investigated for these two at all. It's like you introduce a plot point and then you drop it for some unexplained reason. The one question I have, and this is a glaring plot hole I have, when the heck did they take the time not only to make these bombs, but also take the time to play them in about 11 stadiums? Yes, this would take weeks to do, because you have to find them, and it takes several hours just to climb up these damn things and try to blow them up. Yeah, it would take weeks to do this. Oh yeah, and it's never explained when he decided to do this at all. Yeah, that's one thing about the movie that's never explained, is the whole thing with the bombs. And it's like the bombs are complete overkill. And in case you're wondering, is this the first film to feature bombs as a plot device in the movies? No, they've been using bombs as a plot device since the original film, which has popped up a few times in the movies, but this is the first one of bombs been the main plot device since the original film. They've had bombs pop up now and again, but not where it's like blowing up several buildings. Well, at least this time, soccer stadiums, mind you. Though the next film has got nothing to do with soccer at all, it's all about the Japanese Self-Defense Force, which I partially got into the movie. The movie's actually pretty good so far. Looking forward to basically finish watching and reviewing it. Now, the movie itself, any other thought? Now, as for anything else I could say about Eleventh Striker, well, there's nothing really much else to say about this movie. It's good, aside from the fact that the movie has 2 problems: a glaring plot hole, and of course, the plot points are introduced and then they're completely dropped. Yeah, there are like several of them. Oh, in case you're wondering, what is the follow-up episode of the anime to this one? It is basically it's not Jay League Bodyguard, is it? No, it's Promise with Jay Leaguer. Yeah, that's the anime follow-up to this film, which features like the last appearance of Jody, Carmel, and James of the FBI. Yeah, that was their last appearance in the anime. And they haven't appeared since then. Don't know why, but that's pretty much how it is. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, as photographer herself, after that, aside from this movie and the episode, there's nothing really myself for her. The soccer player in this movie, he appears in like 2 episodes of the anime. One, of course, is canon, the other, of course, is not. Aside from that, in case you want to any new gadgets in this movie, no, not really. There's one gadget used in the very next film, which I'll talk about that when I talk about the next film, which is Private Eye at Sea. Yep, that's the next one I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's it for this particular review. My next review will be on news chapter of Attack on Titan. And I'm also planning on doing 2 more reviews today, with the review of the 17th film for Case Closed, and the newest episode of Black Clover. Okay? See you next video. Bye.